Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, Bunting happy for less reliance on SOEs. Opposition Senator Peter Bunting has praised the Commissioner of Police, Dr. Kevin Blake, who took on that role about 5 months ago, for what he described as the top cop's departure from a reliance on states of public emergency. Commissioner Blake took over from Major General Anthony Anderson on March 19. Anderson served for 6 years, and during that time, SOEs were frequently used. Even while murders are down this year relative to last year, and we are thankful for that, I wanted to acknowledge the new commissioner because he hasn't followed Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, with that foolishness about the state of emergency, argued Bunting. All those years when they were scraping up a whole heap of young people in St. James, locking them up without a charge, and letting them lose their jobs, making people look at them as if they are tainted, it still did not bring down murders and the crime in St. James, he added. Bunting, who was addressing a St. James Central Constituency Conference held at Cornwall College on Sunday, also doubled down on the party's position that the way in which the Holness administration has been using SOEs was not only unconstitutional but ineffective. It was a misuse of resources, and what we see now is no state of emergencies this year. For the first time in 9 years, murders will come back into the range this JLP administration inherited from the PNP administration of Portia Simpson Miller, stated Bunting, who served as a National Security Minister between January 6, 2012 and February 25, 2016 in Simpson Miller's cabinet. Based on crime statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, between January 1 and August 3 of this year, murders were down 15.6% when compared to the same period last year. The statistics showed that 692 murders were committed for the period in comparison to 820 last year. Despite the reduction, Bunting said the number is still too high, and he suggested that crime is also having an impact on the tourism industry. The travel advisory that the U.S. has on Jamaica is putting the industry under pressure. Don't let Pollyanna Edmund Bartlett tell you any foolishness. The industry is under pressure. We see reductions in arrivals. We see reductions in room rates. But a joined-up PNP government with the Ministry of National Security working with the Ministry of Tourism will ensure that, once again, we are able to get those travel advisories removed, stated Bunting. He referenced the period between 2011 and 2016 when the Security Ministry received the support from the Tourism Ministry, saying he hopes to replicate it. Comrade Wickham McNeil, former tourism minister, was a greater supporter of the JCF, and especially along the tourism belt. The Tourism Enhancement Fund bought more vehicles for the police than the Ministry of Finance. That should not be a one-time partnership because we see clouds on the horizon of the tourism sector right now, warned Bunting. Mocha adds a forensic intelligence gathering power to massacre probe. The state on Tuesday intensified its investigation into the Cherry Tree Lane massacre with the addition of the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, in keeping with Prime Minister Andrew Holness's vow that the killers will be caught and made to face the full force of the law. MOCA will be contributing intelligence, investigative, and cyber forensic support to ensure that every possible lead is pursued and that justice is served, MOCA's Director of Communications, Major Basil Jarrett, told the news. Jarrett pointed to the arrest of 4 men on Monday in 4 parts of Clarendon in connection with the seizure of an illegal gun, and noted that 2 of them have since been charged with illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. What is important to note about this particular arrest and the charge was that the men were picked up by members of the JDF Foot Patrol team. What this demonstrates is that, despite how tense the area is, these men are still a threat. It also suggests that they are very intent on carrying out a criminal activity, and so it is very important that we maintain this presence in the community, Jarrett said. Within a few hours of a 96-hour curfew being imposed in 4 parts on Monday, the 4 men who were traveling on 2 motorcycles were caught and pinned down by members of the JDF and the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The law enforcers firstly intercepted 2 of the men who they suspected were spotters responsible for telling the other 2 men the location of the security forces in the community. However, they rode straight into the hands of police and the soldiers and did not get to alert their friends. Police said the other 2 men who had the gun were trying to make their way past the security checkpoint when they were nabbed. One of them allegedly attempted to dispose of a bag containing the weapon, but it was quickly retrieved and they were handcuffed. The curfew was imposed following Sunday night's mass shooting in Cherry Tree Lane, which is located in 4 parts. 8 people, including a 7-year-old boy, were shot dead by at least 3 gunmen who had invaded the community while a birthday celebration and a game of bingo was in full swing outside the First Lady HQ bar. 9 other people were shot and injured in the attack. Law enforcers said that the men on the motorbikes were on their way to exact revenge for the mass killing. The deceased have been identified as 7-year-old Aiden Bartley, 27-year-old Cavell Daly, 50-year-old Lawrence Francis, 20-year-old Diamond Bennett, 68-year-old Errol Stewart, 32-year-old Jermaine Booth, Courtney Messom, and a woman known only as Margaret. On Monday, following a meeting of the National Security Council, Prime Minister Holness declared a total assault on gangs across the island and pledged that the government will use this opportunity to deal with the gangs once and for all. We will not treat this as another criminal act. We will treat this as an act of terror. Therefore, we have given directions to the security forces to launch an all-out assault on the gangs that are involved, Holness told a journalist at an emergency press briefing at Jamaica House. On Tuesday, Major Jarrett appealed to Jamaicans to provide the authorities with any information related to the atrocity. It is very important that the public gives us the support that we need. Cherry Tree Lane is a very small area, and you don't carry out an act like this without someone knowing about it, and so we ask the public to use the Mocha tip line at 888 Mocha Tip as well as a Crime Stop 311 to help us bring the perpetrators to justice, he said. Also on Tuesday, a resident of 4 parts told the news that the community has been blanketed by police and the soldiers. There's a whole lot of soldiers and police. The area has been tense. This morning a few people were on the road, but by the time I went out and came back, the roads were completely empty. The police and soldiers are up and about, the resident said. I don't know about any other arrest other than the 4 men from Monday. The baby that people were saying is dead is actually okay. The mother said the baby only got a graze on the shoulder. 2 other young men who were injured, one of them is due for surgery next week. People still crying and grieving. There is nothing really you can say right now for persons to feel comfort, but you still have to try, the resident said. One woman who was shot and injured in the incident on Sunday told the news that she was running when she felt something slammed into her leg. I said, yes, Jesus Christ, me get shot. I got shot just below my left buttock, and it flew through the groin area at the front. My handbag cut up, but I didn't fall down, so I don't know if it was caused by a wire in the fence or something, she said. Warder exposes widespread prison corruption. A prison warder has claimed widespread corruption within the organization, accusing individuals at various levels of facilitating the smuggling of contraband into the penal institutions. Let me tell you, behind that wall, there's a lot that the world doesn't know about. I have been there, so I can tell you, the warder told the news. The insider described an environment where corruption is pervasive and protected by powerful individuals within the system. Sometimes when you're not with the corruption that is happening, they tend to fight you out and they try to kick you out of the work when you are untainted. I am not for what they are doing, the source shared. The Department of Correctional Services continues to grapple with corruption, with allegations ranging from organized crime within prisons to the facilitation of contraband smuggling by insiders. Prime Minister Andrew Holness highlighted the extent of the problem when he disclosed on Monday that an inmate was involved in orchestrating last Sunday's mass shooting in Cherry Tree Lane, Clarendon, which left 8 persons dead and 9 others nursing gunshot wounds. We know that persons overseas are involved and connected in this act. We know that persons who are incarcerated presently have connections in this act, Holness stated. The insider further detailed how contraband, including communication devices, makes its way into the prisons with the help of both low and higher ranking personnel. They're cooking and buying things for them. They're carrying phones on a regular basis, but money do all things, the sources said. But you see, the sad thing about it, is that these people are getting things to communicate in here, and that's how people outside end up losing their lives. And it's not just coming from the low down, the low foot of people, it's coming from the high horses too, the insider claimed. National Security Minister Dr. Harris Chang echoed these sentiments, emphasizing the need for enforcement and technological enhancements within the DCS. The Correctional Services Act was amended in 2021 to ensure more severe penalties for those who breach the act and take banned goods into prisons. Work will be done to strengthen various activities. We have just concluded a contract to introduce the camera system and more extensive systems in the correctional system and to build out the intelligence service within there, Chang said. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.